Hello, everybody, part of the Donut Box, and everybody from Team Fight Academy. Welcome to our first patch rundown. So this patch, we're looking at patch 12.6, which will be coming out Wednesday. I think it's March 30th, so 2 days from recording. So hopefully you guys will see this soon. I'm calling this the No Mo Damage patch. You guys will see why. So first things, they're adding a few quality of life changes, and I really like these. So first of all, you're going to be able to hit your tab key to toggle your combat recap. So like all the stuff on the right side of your screen that you'd be seeing. A key to toggle left opponent panel. I'm not 100% sure what that actually means, because I know right now we could cycle through all our opponents that way. So it might be the opponent that it might supposed to have been last opponent panel. Not sure about that. I guess we'll see on the 30th when that one comes out. And then the S key to cycle between the damage dealt, damage applied, and healing. So that's the more stats that you get below. Quality of life changes, they're always great. I mean, TFT has slowly been bringing these out ever since the original set 1 came out. And I think every time they've added a quality of life change like these, they've been really healthy for the game. So I'm excited to see how these play, and I'm really excited to see what that A key does. Next, we have the augment system changes. So these are like how the augments in the background are going to be working, not the augments themselves. So first of all, we're getting 3 econ augments are no longer going to be able to be purchased in one round. That is huge. So basically, the way this would work is you would get 3 augments, right? And if you already had 1 econ augment, you really don't want to be grabbing another econ augment. But if Lord Mortdog came down and said, here are 3 different econ augments, you kind of have no choice. So I think this is a really, really good, again, quality of life, health for the game thing that is going through the augments. The next 3 basically just say all the augment times are going to be 2 seconds quicker. It matters. In the end, it doesn't. It's just speeding up the game just a little bit. It really doesn't speed up much, so I don't necessarily see the point for it, but that's just me. And then the last one here that you'll see is Radiant Relics, Golden Age, Future Sight Mistral, the Radiant Zephyr, are all of that. When it gives you a Radiant Zephyr, the attack speed that it originally gave was 20% attack speed reduction, which killed carries. Now it's 10%. It's still going to kill carries, but not murder them per se like they were before. Because if you got hit with that Zephyr and you were running something that required attack speed, which is literally every carry in the game, even if you're running AP, you were sad. You were very sad. So I think that's also good quality of life kind of update. I think they realized the Radiant Zephyr was just a little too strong considering it came from 3 different places. Here's some big ones. Now, the augment changes themselves. I think the first 2, where they talk about Electrocharge and Ludens now scaling, I think is the perfect way for them to have fixed these augments. So in the past, Electrocharge and Ludens were broken beyond belief because you get them in stage 1. They're super strong because they have to be strong throughout the entire game. Then they nerfed them. I played with them. They were there, but they were pretty underwhelming for what you're getting. Now I think they found the perfect way to balance it at the early game, it's not overpowered, but it's not weak either. It's just an all-around good augment, and that scales into the late game, so that way you're not just not playing with that augment early. And as you see, the damage numbers are also lower than they were at the starting values, and they don't get to the same spot until tier 3. So that means before your tier 3 valued augment was happening at, or not tier 3, your stage 3 value augment was happening at stage 2. So that's where you could see how a little overpowered it was. And this is after they've nerfed everything else as well, but again, coming later. Innovator Heart moves from silver to gold, and they're removing Innovator Soul. Man, Innovators have been a problem. I do agree it was a little too easy to hit Dragon if they just gave you Innovator Soul. You didn't even if you had 1 Innovator in, you could play Innovator Soul and build around it to get either Bear or Dragon, and Dragon was just that broken. Another thing that they are nerfing is Share the Spotlight. Its bonus damage or percent bonuses is being reduced from 125% to 100%. So now instead of all the hexes around and you get extra benefit, now it's just the hexes. I think that's balanced. I don't think you needed the extra. I think what they should do is the original Socialite spot gets 125% of the benefits, and then the rest of them just get 100. I think they had that originally like that, but I think they've changed that since. Give me 1 second. All right, so small or so tiny. The Yordle one where they can't be hit. They're moving it from silver to gold. I think this is healthy for the game, and they're increasing the dodge chance back to 30%. And I didn't notice that visual adjustment when I read this the first time through. So I think this is healthy for the game too, because you grab so tiny or so small and you just kind of get RNG screwed now that it's 5% less. I think bringing it back to 5%, but moving it to gold tier will help the game's health a little bit as well. And for those people who are going to force Yordles and then want this on stage 2, I think you have more chances, because just from my personal opinion, I've gotten more gold on the second augment reroll than the first, and you're not really slamming Yordles on the first one anyways, unless you already have a Yordle start. I really like that they are decreasing the size of the Yordles on the battlefield for visual adjustment. I read that now. That is probably one of my favorite things of the patch. Next thing is the component grab bag augment will no longer grant 3 of the same components. I don't know why it did that in the first place, because if you got 3 cloaks, you are probably sad, unless you're playing Trundle of old or Jax of old. I guess you can make 3 cloaks work, but neither here nor there. You're pretty sad about getting 3 of the same item. I'm happy that they've adjusted that. Cybernetic Shell is getting a nerf. I think with the damage nerfs that you see later, if they left Cybernetic Shell at what it would have been beyond the most broken thing in the game. So I don't think this is necessarily a nerf because of Cybernetic Shell. I think it's just adjustment down to keep it going with the rest of the changes they have made. Next, we have Golden Ticket. It won't matter because I don't know about you guys, but whenever I click that reroll key, I never get a Golden Ticket reroll, or at least that's what it feels like. And then you see little clips and people get like 8 rolls in a row, and I'm just like, well, they stole all my rolls. But they're moving it from 40% to 45%. I feel like that should help a little bit of your odds again. They're just pushing it towards a little bit nicer. It's not a 50%, but it's not way below 50% either. The next one, I am unsure how this is going to affect. So the Golden Egg. I only got Golden Egg once and I died before it hatched, so I can't really tell you guys how Golden Egg is going to work, but I think it's interesting what they've done. So they basically stated that a Tactician's Crown is worth about 25 gold worth. Like, it's worth 25 gold. Because what they've done here is they added a Tactician's Crown to the 100 gold loot drop and reduced the gold amount to 75 gold. So I feel like that's a buff, but let me know, guys, in the comment section below what you guys think that is. I think I would take the extra slot over the extra 25 gold, but we'll see. High-end shopping, bonus gold increased from 5 to 8 gold. I think that's just a nicety. I'm sure they saw high-end shopping was not performing well, so they bumped it up a little bit. Lifelong learning. I've never gotten this early enough with a unit that I already have Scholar, but I know that this can be good, so I'm sure they just made it better. Rich Get Richer is now interesting. I don't know if you can make 30 gold if you have a gold start, but you guarantee 20 gold now, even without the gold start, so that's really helpful because you're just starting off your econ earlier than everybody else. I don't know why Sharpshooter needed a buff. It felt like it was the most broken augment in the game to me. If you played Sharpshooter and you had twin shots, you just won, it felt like. But I guess the numbers said differently, so I think Sharpshooter is now legitimately going to be the best augment in the game. Yeah, Smokebomb. I think this is healthy for assassins because 60% and then they get bursted by like a Corky bomb and they're dead. So it's just making it a little more survivability chance. Tiny Titans. They basically just removed this from the game because this augment will no longer be offered at stage 4-6. In my opinion, you take this at the first one at stage 1-3, you grief to game because you can never get a carousel pick unless you're planning on just Mr. 135, but you're still, don't take it on 1-3. The second one is situational. I guess if you've been playing Mercs and your health is low and you take this, you're happy about it, but I still think you're better off taking it on 4-6. But I guess games were lasting too long, so they weren't liking it, or it was just an auto choose on 4-6 because it felt pretty top 4 guaranteed if you got this on 4-6. So maybe that's what they didn't like. I don't know. In my opinion, they just removed the entire augment from the game. I don't think I will be choosing it. Titanic Force, bonus attack damage from max health percentage reduced from 3 to 2.5%. I never ran Titanic Force. I think I ran it once, and it felt good because I was running bruisers, but it's still one of those situational of if you're not running higher cost carries, 3 costs, or bruisers, you're basically not hitting it. I don't know the data of the reason they nerfed it, but I think it's just more along the lines of they're trying to nerf the damage in the game, so they're nerfing everything, not just specifics. Woodland Trinket Clone was buffed from 300 to 360. I still don't see it being played because you can't get Darkstar value from it. So, next we have trait balancing. So, one of the best things they've done, maybe, is the breakpoint of Enforcer from 2 to 4 to being 3. Enforcer was the most splashable trait in the entire set so far because Vi's a really good unit. Sejuani is a really good unit, and they both have Bruiser and Enforcer. So you basically guaranteed at minimum a bit of a front line. Then Jace is a really good unit, and Caitlyn's a unit you could find early. Not to mention Sejuani's a unit you could find early. So you guaranteed that splash of Enforcer early if you wanted it. To compensate for it being harder to find, they have increased the stun duration from 3 to 4 seconds. I think that's healthy because somebody who actually wants to go for Enforcers now has a reason. It'll also make getting Enforcer harder, Enforcer Soul, not feel as bad because then you can go back to the original comps, which before it felt like I was always trying to force around having Vi, Sejuani, and then I was like, oh, I guess I need Jace to make this work because I don't want to drop Sedge because of the Bruiser, although that's usually what it went to because Bruiser's a bad late scaling comp or augment or blank trait. Thank you. Anyways, next, Hextech. New ability has shield and magic damage scale based on the number of Hextech augments in your Hex score. So, I think this is to give Hextech a little bit of a buff because the only comp that really ran Hextech before was Sivir, and Sivir just never did what Sivir was supposed to do. It felt like she was supposed to be great and just never was able to do it. So now you're buffing it. The bonus shield and magic damage per augment is 20%, and the shield is changed. So I think this is an all-around buff for Hextech. I think it's like one of the only things really getting buffed throughout all of this. Because now you're scaling with it, so you have a reason to be putting in more Hextech. I'm kind of unsure how it's going to feel, but I think it's going to be better. I think. That is a big think, by the way. I'm not 100% sure. Next is going to be Innovators. I'm so sad how hard they are hitting Innovators, man. Innovator 3, the damage reduction is reduced from 25 to 20%. And then the Mechanical Bear, Power Surge buff, and whatever. The ability power and attack damage is being nerfed from 20 to 15. Again, I think it's not Innovator itself getting the nerf in this section because it already got its own nerf in the earlier sections in the augments. I think this is, they're worried about the damage. They're trying to reduce damage. So if they're going to reduce damage, they don't want the Innovator to be too tanky. Oh, man. Now we move on to one-cost champs. So I'm removing it's a massive list. Basically 31 of the 36 champions all got their attack damage nerfed. We're going to skip that. You could go see the 3 attack damage nerf on each unit. I'll have the link in the description and at the end of the slides as well if you want to go see that. But first off, Caitlyn's attack speed increased from 0.75 to 0.8. Enforcer just got a massive nerf by going from 2 to 4 or 2 to 3. And I think Caitlyn just needed this. Now you have a chance of, she should guaranteed ult in every fight now, which is huge because Caitlyn not ulting is basically you don't have a unit. Ezreal Mystic Shot attack speed boost per cast nerf from 20 to 18%. I think this is going to hurt Ezreal carry more, so 3-starring your Ezreal I don't think will be as good, but running Ezreal as your pivot unit I still think will be pretty good early game. 2 cost changes. This confuses the living hell out of me. They are buffing Swain again after nerfing everything else. They are buffing his damage, and they are buffing his healing. I think Swain reroll is going to be an S tier comp again this patch with Deathcap, Giant Slayer, QSS. buffed. I don't know why. Quirky bombardment damage nerfed. I think that's healthy for the game, especially with the sharpshooter bonus. Oh my god. And again, I think that's more just trying to nerf the damage throughout all the game across the board. Rek'Sai's maximum mana buffed. Yay. I mean, it's not bad. A mana buff is never a bad thing. And Sejuani's health increased 50. I think that'll just help her a little bit in the early game tankiness. I'm sure I'm going to lose infinite health to that 50 extra. All right. Champ changes at the 3-cost level. Malzahar is dead. Not necessarily, but it feels like he's dead. Okay. So, what's the mutant? I can't remember the name of the mutant. The one that reduces mana. The best it could do is subtract out 40 mana. Before it was perfect because blue buff just allowed you to then auto cast after one auto. Now, if you have that maxed out, or not maxed out, to 5 mutant, what'll happen is you're going to then have 40 mana remaining. So blue buff will give you 20 mana left over. So that is 3 autos. So I think Spear is now better because you could get it on. No, it's 3 autos. Yeah, so I don't think it matters. I think they nerfed Malzahar. I think this is just an all-around nerf to Malzahar. But what they did do was they buffed his damage a bit. So we'll see if that helps. I think the reason he was so good is because he was a Morello spreader and he was permacasting on Morellos. And then you had the double ticks, but that's just me. And then Zac spell damage reduction increased from 50 to 60%. That shocks me as well, considering they're nerfing damage. But they did just nerf Zac in the previous patch, so maybe they're just bringing him back to what he was. 4 costs. Man, they love nerfing the hard carries from the patches. Maximum mana nerf from 30 to 40 on Irelia. And you're thinking, well, it's okay. She's supposed to be resetting anyways, right? Well, then they nerfed her damage from the Blade Surge as well. So not only are you getting less resets, you're also getting less mana. Or more mana. You need more mana. You're getting less casts off of missing resets. Yeah. I think that this is a nerf to the champion herself. I don't know how it's going to affect the Socialite Irelia comp, because that comp really didn't care how much damage you had. You just decided to win because Irelia as a unit itself is pretty broken. So this might actually be pretty healthy for the game, to be fair. Draven spinning axe damage nerfed. I think this is, again, a little bit of we're trying to remove damage from the game, blah, 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 blah. But I also think it's because of the fact that now non-VIP Draven has the armor shred on it as well. So I think it's also healthy balancing for the game. But again, we don't like carries. And then, who would have thought, all the 5 costs, just everything feels like it's just boom. Except for, what's his name from Arcane? Victor from Arcane. He's not getting nerfed. All right, Victor's the carry. Victor is the carry of the patch. I'm joking. I have no idea yet. Galeo's getting nerfed. You don't really use his entrance for the damage, so it doesn't really matter. But the percent max health damage is increasing, so he's better against tanky units, but not as good against less tanky units. But what we care about is he's actually getting a buff in his stun. And that's what you care about. At the 1 cost, he's now actually playable. At 2 costs, you're just getting more damage. So obviously a 2-star Galileo is still good, but you no longer need to 2-star him to have any chance of using the unit. Before, if you had 1-star Galileo, you were griefed. That unit did nothing. He ran away. He didn't protect your front line. And his CC was so short, it was almost not worth it. That's why you would see in Colossus comps, they would run Alistar because he's just better. Jace range gets better scaling via modified 3 attacks. No, worse scaling. It only affects his 2-star. I don't really get what that means via modified 3 attacks adjusted. So his 3rd Shock Blast, it used to be stronger, but now it's slightly weaker. I don't think that actually matters. I think the bigger issue is the bonus attack damage adjusted in the next part, where we're losing 10 attack damage on his range form at 2-star. think that might be a little bit overdone because of the True Justice augment was making Jace overpowered in the last set patch. I don't think Jace was that good without it, but that might just be me. And then I don't get the nerf at 3-star. If you have a 3-star 5 cost, make it... Like, Galileo's thing is still over 9,000. I love the meme. Why are you dropping his 3-star? Like, who is 3-starring Jace this much and proved that it was so broken that we had to nerf it? Mort, let me know, please. We move on. Silco's Unstable Concoction buff duration buff from 6s across the board to 6, 7, and 10. Great, because now there's a reason to 2-star Silco to give him that extra time, because it feels bad if you have a 3-star Silco and he blows up your entire board. He also, at 3-star, which again, I don't know how many people are 3-starring, but I'm always down for 3-star buffs on 5 costs because, again, you get a 3-star 5 cost, you should win the game. Bigger explosion radius. Sweet. That's fun. I want to watch the YouTube video of someone getting a 3-star Silco and blowing up the whole board. Please link that in the comments below as well. And Tooltip won't show the scaling numbers until... That's fine. I mean, they're pushing out the patch. I read the notes. You guys now heard the notes. We're good with that. Zeri, a bug fix no longer caps Zeri's attack speed at 1. Her base is now 0.8 and will cap at 5. So Zeri was literally nerfed into the ground on accident. That is unfortunate. That also scares me because I would fight some Zeri comps that really scared me. And then Zeri's Lightning Crash passive bonus on hit magic damage per bullet nerfed. It doesn't sound like it'd be a lot because you're nerfing at only 1 and 2 damage, but she shoots a lot, so I don't know how badly this nerf is actually going to impact her yet. I'm sure someone out there did the math and knows the exact numbers. I do not. And then bug fixes, like we said. Zeri is no longer capped at 1 attack speed. I didn't even know that was a thing. Poison applied by Renata Glass will now always get removed after she dies. I have a concern here because does the Morello's tick remove after she dies as well? I guess that'll be something we'll see. Lucian and Corki attacks will now crit when Hex Tech Augment Sharpshooter is active. Sharpshooter is just that much better. Innovator Dragon will no longer have spell crit without a jeweled gauntlet on the unit. I don't see the need for that because of the fact that you nerfed Innovators into the ground. I think you could have just left that in. Everybody knew about it, but that's just me. Aurelian Kha'Zix will no longer target units with their abilities that are untargetable. That's very healthy balance because I guarantee that's tilted me once or twice. Corky Spell will find a new target and no longer fizzle upon the target he was firing at dies. Zillion, please do this with Zillion. It's more needed on Zillion. Yes, it's very needed on Corky because he's your carry in the Yordle comp, but when this happens on Zillion, and I've seen it so many times, it just hits the ground. Zillion's bomb in-game hits the ground, and you're able to have the ground there to blow up. Why is that not the same? Or if someone steps on it, it gets on them. That would be cool. That's probably really hard to code, though, in this style of game. Double Trouble will always grant a 2-star unit when you 3-star unit, even if no copies of that unit are left. That's just health of the game. I think that's more of a quality of life. I didn't even know that was a bug. I thought that was intentional. Dragon's Claw no longer triggers against the first tick of Talon's ability. I'm confused why that's a bug. I guess Talon's ability is supposed to be the 3 ticks total, so maybe that's why. I think that was working as it was supposed to on the way it was coded. Whatever. Units ingested by Tom Kench will get spit out upon the 5-cost dying. Thank God, because the amount of times you just sit here, Tom Kench dies, and there's nothing on the field, and you're like, oh, there's my unit. And then double up. Units without the mutant trait active will no longer gain bonuses when allies die while being reinforced from their partner's activation of Voracious Appetite. That made sense to you, right? Mutant units without the mutant trait active will no longer gain bonuses when allies die while being reinforced from their partner's activation of Voracious Appetite. I'm sure that has come up so often in your guys' games that we should dive into that more next time. All right, guys. Oh, you can't see. All right, I'm going to hide my face. I messed this up. I will know that for next time. Well, I'm going to say thank you guys very much for watching, and thank you to DotEsports for the information. If you guys want to check it out, link is here. It'll also be in the video description below. If you guys like energy drinks, make sure to go drink Poggers. And that is the Twitter, that is the Twitch, and you're on my YouTube. So I'm going to say thank you guys all so very much for watching. Be sure if you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel and go follow over on Twitch. That way you never miss a stream or a video. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.